Hello, good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming out to the third in our series of 5 Worcester municipal election candidate debates, this one for at-large city councilor. My name is Michael McDermott. I'm executive editor of the Worcester Telegram and Gazette. I'd like to thank our co-sponsors, the Worcester Regional Research Bureau, Paul Matthews, Eric Neelan, and their colleagues who do so much work to make these efforts a success. Thank you also to Mechanics Hall for being our host once again tonight. We at the TNG are proud to co-sponsor these debates as a way to help voters make informed decisions about these important local offices. A big part of our mission as a local newspaper is to drive engagement and participation in local government, and these forums are a great way to do that. With us here tonight, we have our city government reporter, Afton Pratt, as well as our visuals chief, Rick Sinclair. Early tomorrow morning, you'll be able to find a story as well as the full video of tonight's debate on telegram.com without any paywall restrictions. Also, I want to say thank you to the WCCA and to Ernie Floyd from Pride Productions for covering this debate as well. Now, I'd like to call to the podium Megan Montaner, Executive Director of Mechanics Hall, to say a few words. Megan?
Good evening, everyone. It's my pleasure to welcome the Worcester Regional Research Bureau, the Telegram and Gazette, and tonight's candidates to our space. Mechanics Hall isn't just a performance venue, it's a living symbol of civic engagement. Opened in 1857 by the Worcester County Mechanics Association, it was created to empower working-class citizens through education, innovation, and public dialogue. Throughout its history, it's hosted powerful voices like Frederick Douglass and Susan B. Anthony, making it a stage for key social reforms. Today, we open our doors to town halls, nonprofit events, and cultural forums that bring the community together, demonstrating just how much a space can actively support democracy by connecting citizens to a cause greater than themselves. We're grateful for the opportunity to host the events, the debates, again this year. Welcome.
Thank you all for coming out tonight, members of the audience, the candidates, as well as those who are watching online. I want to go over the rules of the debate tonight. Candidates, we ask that everyone respect each other, the opportunity to hear each other's perspective, and to honor the time limits on each question. Attendees, please do not display signs or disrupt any of the candidates' responses. If anyone is disruptive or interferes with the debate, we'll ask you to stop, and if you continue to be disruptive, we may ask you to leave. Each candidate will have the opportunity to make a 2-minute opening statement. Then there will be a series of 14 questions. 12 of those questions will be asked to a primary respondent, and then 3 other candidates will have a chance to answer. Each candidate will get 60 seconds on each question, and then the 3 other primary respondents will have the option for a 30-second rebuttal. The recipients for each question have been determined by lottery. Each candidate will have a chance to be a primary respondent on 1 question and a respondent on 3 others. There will be 2 questions that will be posed to all 12 candidates, and each will have 60 seconds to respond to that. To end the night, each candidate will get a 1-minute closing statement. We'll hold up signs to warn you when your time is almost up, and a red stop sign to let you know if you've reached your time limit. So if you see that stop sign, please stop immediately. Now I'd like to introduce you to our moderators tonight. We have Kim Salmon, president of the Hanover Insurance Group Foundation. Casey Burns, chair of the Center on Food Equity and executive director of the Coalition for a Healthy Greater Worcester. And Paul Matthews, executive director of the Worcester Regional Research Bureau. And now the candidates, just going to introduce, beginning to the right and going over to the left, we have Caden Davis, Satya Mitra, Jermo Kamara, Donna Calorio, Edson Montero, Jessica Peppel, Christian King, Morris Bergman, Kate Toomey, Aurora Kwaku Sarkodie, Joseph Petty, and Gary Rosen. And now I'm going to turn it over to the moderators to begin the debate. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We're going to start with an opening statement from each of the candidates. You will each get 2 minutes. I'm going to start with Gary Rosen.
Thank you very much. The last time I served on the Worcester City Council was 4 years ago, and after watching the meetings the last 4 years and talking to folks in the community and especially people on the City Council, things have changed a lot. As you know, I campaigned pretty hard, and as I was standing a few weeks ago outside Price Shop in there, Elm Park, a man came up to me and he said, Rosen, why do you work so hard to get on that City Council? He said, it's so divisive, there's so much anger, there seems to be hate, people don't cooperate. Why do you want that role? And I said, that's the reasons. I said, the reasons you just gave me are the reasons I'm running. I do think I can bring common sense, some more common sense. I'm not saying there's none on the city council, of course not. More common sense to the city council. I can bring certainly experience. I've had that. At my age now, I think I can bring some wisdom to the city council. I know that I can get along with and cooperate with. It doesn't mean I like them all. I can get along with and cooperate with and work with all 11 of the other candidates up here. So that's important to me. I think the city council could get a lot more done for the people in the city of Worcester, the homeowners, the renters, the business owners, everyone. They could get a lot more done if they would just work together as a team. From my years in the council, it's always been a team. You know, I know I go way back, and I've been on several different councils, but the past 2 to 4 years has been so different. I'll talk about the issues soon. I know those are the questions you'll be asking us tonight, but I certainly want to make it clear that I am thrilled to be running again. I did well in the preliminary. Many of you have supported me in the past. You supported me in the preliminary. I would ask for your vote again, and I don't think I'll let you down. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mo?
Thank you. I look at public office, I think, in a logical way. I look at the issues, I learn the issues, I get feedback from constituents, and oftentimes we have to balance the interests of different parties. Rarely do we have a vote that everybody's happy with, but I am comfortable in saying that every vote I've taken in the last 2 years has been taken from my belief that I'm voting in the best interests of the majority of the residents of the city of Worcester. Quite frankly, I'm an open book. I say what I mean, and I mean what I say. I don't think people that even dislike me can say that I'm hypocritical in anything I say and the votes that I take. I do my best to learn the issues, and when I don't know the issues, I certainly reach out and ask other people. I try to take my lifetime experiences as a resident and lifelong child of Worcester, public school graduate, and child of immigrants. And I try to make the lives of people that come to this city better. There are different approaches to that. Some people take the approach that you have to help everybody do every step, and some people take the approach that once somebody's learned to take a few steps, you have to let them run with it. And I like to see growth. I like to see small businesses succeed. I like to see our new immigrants successful. And I like to see the city of Worcester thrive. I've been proud to serve the city of Worcester for the last number of election cycles. I believe that I have the strength of character to stand up to my convictions, and I'm asking you to consider voting for me number 8 on the ballot on November 4th. Thank you.
Thank you. Donna?
Good evening. My name is Donna Colorio, and a lifelong resident of Worcester, and I'm here before you tonight to humbly ask for your vote on Tuesday, November 4th, for City Councilor at Large. I'm here because I believe in our city and in bringing practical solutions to the challenges we face. Together, we can choose a path forward that prioritizes what matters most: common sense, calm, and sanity. Our community stands at a crossroads. Too often we see decisions driven by nonsense, policies that sound good on paper and fall apart in practice. I'm running to bring common sense back to the table, whether it's managing our budget responsibly, ensuring our schools prepare our kids for success, or keeping our streets safe. I'll focus on what works best, real solutions, not flashy headlines. We've also seen chaos creep into our lives, divisive debates, and leaders more focused on arguing than acting. I believe in calm leadership. I'll listen to you and work tirelessly to bring people together for the good of our community. Calm doesn't mean weak, it means steady, focused, and ready to get things done. And let's talk about sanity. In a world that sometimes feels upside down, we need leaders who stay grounded in reality. I'm committed to policies that respect our values, protect our hard-earned tax dollars, and prioritize the needs of our family, businesses, and seniors. Sanity means putting you, our community, first every single time. On Tuesday, November 4th, you have a choice. If you value common sense over nonsense, calm over chaos, insanity over insanity, I humbly ask for your vote. Together we can build a stronger and smarter community. Thank you.
Thank you. Joe?
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. And I've had the honor to serve you as your mayor and city council, and I'm truly grateful for your trust in that. Just like look at the last decade and a half and see how many improvements we have made here in the city of Worcester. A good city must have good schools. We have a new North High School, a new South High School, Doherty High School, Burncoat High School is on its way. We have a new Nelson Place Elementary. Worcester Tech is a national success story, and we have more to come. We have wonderful educators, paraeducators, and administrators. A good city must be safe. I have complete confidence in Chief Saucy and the Worcester Police Department and our partnership with the police. Our firefighters are legendary, known throughout the country. They're a constant point of pride. A good city must attract, welcome, and keep business. When all the industries fled Worcester, Worcester believed in healthcare, and UMass Memorial is now one of the largest employers in our town. Doctors, technicians, and thousands of nurses are part of our city's backbone. Big businesses like Hanover and Polar and St. Cobain and hundreds of small businesses are the backbone of our economy. A good city must attract, welcome, and keep families. We've added the Worcester Railers in the winter, the Worcester Red Sox in the summer, and the Hanover Theater year-round. None of those were here over 20 years ago, not one. We need more housing. 3 high-rises are open, and the 4th, 5th, and 6th are under construction, including workforce housing and senior housing. And half of those are here because we invested in Polar Park. Does that ballpark make Worcester a better city in which we do live? You bet it does. A good city must work together. We must listen to each other and we speak our minds, all with the best interests of the city at heart. We have been steering this ship in the right direction for well over a decade. So I'm proud of the city. Together, let's get even work and do greater things. Work harder. Thank you, everyone, for being here.
Thank you. Gemma?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Gemma Kamara, and I'm running for the Worcester City Council at large. When my family fled war in Liberia, we settled here in Worcester and made it a home. I grew up with the values of service, seeing my family work long hours, oftentimes overnights, shifts as they were healthcare providers, caring for elderly and people with disabilities like they were family. Those values compelled me to pursue public service, yet even with a master's degree, when I moved back to Worcester, and with my years of professional experience, I faced the harsh realities of our city. I struggled to land a good paying job in public health, and as a former renter, I was served a no-fault eviction in 2022 despite being a reasonable, responsible tenant. I understand the challenges facing working families because I have lived them. As a nonprofit leader, former Worcester School Committee member, faculty member, and small business owner, I have the proven experience to fight for long-term solutions. I am running for Worcester City Council at large to provide the leadership that listens and offers solutions and delivers results. I would do these things on accessible and affordable housing, quality education, supporting and boosting local small businesses here in the city of Worcester, and ensuring that our city has safer streets and neighborhoods. On November 4th, I am number 3 on your ballot, and I do ask for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Caden?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Caden Davis, and I'm a new candidate for Worcester City Council at large. I'm originally from Maine, and I came to Worcester 10 years ago to attend Clark University as a first-generation college student, and Worcester's been my home since. While working full-time, I earned both my bachelor's and master's degree and have been a public health professional. As a renter in Maine South, I've seen firsthand the struggles that working people face: rising rents, underfunded services, and a city that too often leaves its residents behind. These challenges are not abstract. They are the result of decisions made without people who are most affected at the table. Instead of addressing the root causes of poverty and public health crises, our leadership has too often criminalized them. Too many choices are made behind closed doors, favoring big developers and insiders over the residents that make this city what it is. Worcester cannot afford to continue on with the status quo. We need courageous leadership that asks the hard questions, demands transparency, and puts the betterment of our community above political convenience or personal power. We need solutions that work for everyone, and that means investing in robust public health services, expanding affordable housing, truly affordable housing, and increasing transparency so that residents can participate in shaping our city. Across the country, communities like ours are under attack, and here at home, business as usual is no longer enough, and that is exactly why I'm running. I'm the youngest and the only renter on the ballot, bringing a voice that is desperately needed to the council. I've spent 6 years working in public health and understand the challenges that Worcester residents face. I'm not a politician, and I have no desire to embark on a political career. However, I can no longer sit back while our city continues down the same path of indifference. As your councilor at large, I promise to make sure Worcester's leadership listens, responds, and fights for the real needs of our city. Worcester deserves better. I won't settle for less, and neither should you.
Thank you. Edson?
Buenas noches. Hello. I'm running for city council for my kids, friends, for opportunity, for the big access they have the city. There is Worcester people, Worcester constituents, people that come from everywhere, dreaming for an opportunity, with a backpack full of idea, full of knowledge, that this city left out the equation. They not take their experience to make Worcester a better city. I see, when I walk in here, really bad sidewalks, to the point that you cannot take a U-Dog without fun. And people don't like that we talk about the pothole. The only one that like to talk about the pothole is my mechanic, because I have to visit him every weekend, and he's happy about it. But I run because I want to bring something different. I want to bring my experience from the country where I come from. I come in here in 2005 to the United States. We engage in civic leadership. And I was a Boy Scout, and we left the places better than how we found it. And here in Worcester, it's a lot of things that I think we can do. And local level, we know how to forget about the national level, but in local level, we can do better for this city. But first, we had to build bridges. We had to communicate. And when we not found common ground, this is what happened, what is happening right now. And we had to find the common sense and work for Worcester. Thank you.
Thank you. Christian?
Good evening. My name is Christian King. I'm the Vice Chairman of the City Council, and I'm honored to be a candidate for Mayor and Councilor at Large. I'm running because I believe in the promise of this city, a promise built on fairness, opportunity, and community. As a social worker, union vice president, and a father of 3 daughters, one of whom is a bilingual student in Worcester Public Schools, I've spent my life serving people, solving problems, and standing up for what's right. My work has been rooted in equity, compassion, and community, and those same values guide how I lead on the council. Over the past few years, I've worked very hard to make our neighborhoods safer, expand affordability, housing, and make City Hall more accessible and transparent. I've stood with working families, supported educators, and fought to make sure that Worcester's progress reaches everyone, not just a few. In these times, Worcester needs steady leadership, responsive leadership, and leadership that leads from the front and listens with respect. This is achieved through consistency and collaboration. I've earned the trust of residents, and I'm ready to keep doing that work, because Worcester's strength is and always will be its people. And together, we can keep building a city that works for everyone.
Thank you. Satya?
Good evening. My name is Dr. Satya Mitra, and I'm honored to be here tonight as a candidate for Worcester City Council at large. I came to Worcester about over 40 years ago with very little, and this city gave me everything. The chance to earn an education, start a business from the basement of my home, raise a family, and serve my neighbors through the community and humanitarian work. Worcester has given me American dream, and now I want to give back that helping build by building the city that works for everyone. My vision is simple: safe streets, thriving small businesses, housing for all, and strong schools. No parent should fear their child crossing the street. No senior should worry about being priced out of their home. And no young person should feel that they have to leave Worcester for better opportunity. I believe in service, civility, and solutions. I have been a tax consultant for over 35 years, served on city's many commissions and many organizations and the boards. I have seen that when we listen to each other and when we respect each other, we can solve problems together. And that's the spirit that I would like to take to the City Hall. I want to see that we all work as a city councilor, city, and not the international councilor when we get this job. I don't favor rancor, insult, impoliteness, or internal competitiveness, or even divisive tribalism. I favor that progress over negativity. I favor listening over speaking. I favor results over personal attention. That is the character of this city, and that's what we would like to maintain. And as your city councilor, I will work every day to make Worcester safer, stronger, and very prouder. I humbly ask for your trust, your support, and your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Kate?
Good evening. My name is Kate Toomey, and I'm running for re-election to the Worcester City Council. I am very proud of Worcester. We've grown to a city of over 211,000 residents. We have diversified our economy, attracted new businesses in the areas of healthcare, education, technology, the creative economy, biotech, and advanced manufacturing, and have supported hundreds of local entrepreneurs. We're one of the most culturally and linguistically diverse cities in New England, and our residents speak over 80 different native languages. I'm committed to continuing the work I've been a part of over the past several years to make positive changes in Worcester. We have certainly improved during that time, but there is still much to do. We have challenges in front of us, and we'll need to ensure that we're fiscally conservative while still providing much-needed services. We need more adult education and training so we can help people achieve higher-paying jobs to support their families and secure adequate and affordable housing, ensure our children have good teachers in schools. We need to continue to build upon our infrastructure systems, including transportation, ensure that our city employees reflect the diverse community in which we live, ensure that our public safety departments are trained to address the issues affecting our community with addiction, homelessness, and mental health issues. I bring a depth and breadth of experience to the City Council that many do not have. In my private life, I've been an educator, involved in the senior care field, in the addiction treatment field, and in the criminal justice field. I also own my own business. As a former school committee member, I understand the importance of great schools and the needs of our students. As a city councilor, I've been chair of traffic and parking, education, public works, and public safety. I understand the need for technology as our city grows and the importance of a walkable city, the need to ensure we provide a healthy environment for our children's future. I also want a city that ensures no matter what neighborhood you're from, no matter race, religion, ethnicity, or gender, Worcester's a place you can succeed in and raise a family. I want what you want. Clean streets, safe communities, good schools, more jobs, and the ability to fulfill all our dreams. I respectfully ask for one of your 6 votes on Tuesday, November 4th, on number 9 on the ballot. Thank you.
Thank you. Ora?
Good evening. My name is Ora Sarkodie, and I'm running for mayor/councilor at large in the city of Worcester. I was born in Ghana, but I was made in the USA. I'm a small business owner. I'm a realtor, a rehab counselor, proud father of 5 kids who all attend the Worcester Public Schools, and I'm a recent law school grad. I'm running because I believe Worcester's strengths rely in its people. From our hardworking families to small business owners, to our youth who are full of potential, to our cultural diversity, our green spaces, and our seniors who have really worked to build this city. I'm running because I want change. I'm tired of the same old things. We've had the same old, like, people, like, let's say, making decisions for Worcester for the past, like, 10, 15 years. Things must change. We need new leadership, and I want to be part of that leadership. I'm running because I want to make City Hall more inclusive. I want to make City Hall more accountable and open to ordinary folks like you and me. I'm running to push for affordable housing, not just affordable housing, but housing that is affordable. I'm also running for safer neighborhoods. I'm also going to be a fierce supporter of our teachers and our nurses unions. And I'm also going to work to improve our local public schools, which I have a vested interest in because of my kids. And I also want to make sure that economic growth is shared by everyone, not just the capable few. And I also want to make sure that City Hall is accessible to all. I am running for City Council / Mayor because I believe Worcester's best days are still ahead of us. And I'm number 1 on the ballot in the mayoral race, and I'm number 10 in the City Council race. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Jessica?
Good evening, and thank you to tonight's host for creating this space for dialogue and democracy. My name is Dr. Jessica Pepple, a proud Worcester resident, mother, and systems leader running for City Councilor at large. I'm running because Worcester is at a crossroads, and the choices we make now will determine whether we build a city that truly works for everyone. That means leading with vision, voice, and moving forward. That includes our fellow neighbor who may not understand the power of a vote, or who often says, "Why should I vote? No one hears me and nothing will change." Well, I hear you, and I welcome the good things and the bad that will come with change. My vision is a Worcester where opportunity and belonging are not just buzzwords, but lived realities. Where families can afford to stay, small businesses can thrive, and every neighborhood feels safe, cared for, and seen. My voice is rooted in both lived experience and leadership. I've worked across human services and education, serving youth, families, and frontline staff. And as a Chief Diversity and Culture Officer, I've helped organizations translate values into measurable action. It's possible. I'm known for uplifting marginalized voices and overlooked populations, creating psychological safety, and actively listening to the stories behind the data. I drill for details because accountability matters. And when it comes to moving progress forward, I'm like a freight train, steady, focused, and impossible to derail when the mission is right. Together, we can move Worcester forward with compassion, collaboration, and courage. Because when we center people, not politics, everyone wins. I'm ready to bring that vision, that voice, and that forward motion to City Hall. All aboard. I'm Dr. Jessica Pepple. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And for the first question of the evening, it's going to be directed to Mo, and then Jessica, Edson, and Caden will each have 1 minute to respond. It will cycle back to Mo for a 30-second response. So I'm going to start with Mo and then move to Jessica, Edson, and Caden. Housing affordability has been a top concern in recent years, with the city adopting a number of policies. Are there additional housing policies that you believe should be discussed in Worcester?
We are trying a number of different avenues to create additional housing units. I do think we have been making it easier for ADUs, accessory dwelling units, to be used in Worcester, but financing has become an issue for those that want to use ADUs. I think we need to help those that want to create additional dwelling units to get financing. We need to be creative and work with our banks to do that. I also think that in a city like Worcester, where there's not a lot of free space or buildable space that's left, the one thing that I think we've been lacking in our efforts is we need to start building up. We have no more room to go side to side, and we are losing out on the ability to create many more additional units. How do we encourage and incentivize people to build up? We need to find tax incentives to do that, because otherwise people aren't going to do that. We have modified our zoning ordinances to make it easier, less parking restrictions for additional housing units. We've provided incentives for people that are going to invest in building more units in the city. But let's face it, Worcester's grown more than any other city in Massachusetts over the last decade, and there's every reason to believe it's going to continue to grow. And as it continues to grow, we're going to continue to have challenges in meeting the demand.
It's a stop. I'm sorry, but it's a stop.
Okay, sorry, thank you.
That's okay. We'll have 30 seconds at the end, Mo. Jessica Pebble, you're next.
Thank you. First and foremost, I have a question. What is the definition of affordable housing? Because as I'm looking at what's driving up cost, and what I'm wondering is this: when we measure affordable housing, are we looking at the median income of the city, or are we looking at the median income of the area? Two different numbers, and with that difference right there, it lets me know who's driving out who and who's qualified to stay here. I do want to build on one thing that the colleague just mentioned, which was the parking piece. Salem, I just read recently last week, eliminated parking minimums for new development to make housing cheaper. So I think that is something that we should begin to look at, and also looking at exploring rent stabilization and expanding inclusionary zoning so that every new development includes affordable units that allows us to invest more within our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Edson?
Yes, how Jessica was telling us, here in the city, the median income is less than $36,000. And they say that we need more than 12,000 units here in the city. With the policies that we have here, it's almost impossible to accomplish this. We had to review these plans. And I think instead that we found more land to build, we can go up. And we had to find other way and think out the box. Looking, for example, in other cities, how they succeed, how they can make more affordable for the people, or raise the salary for the people that live here in the city. Because with the money that we make here in the city, it's almost unbearable. You cannot live here in Worcester with that amount of money.
Thank you. Caden?
Thank you. So I think building is absolutely important, but building takes a very, very long time, and we are bleeding. We need to put a Band-Aid on the housing crisis that we have right now, and building is not going to address those issues soon enough. So I appreciate Jessica for mentioning rent stabilization. That needs to happen. There's no way that we can just keep building housing and wishing and hoping that it's affordable. So absolutely, we need rent stabilization. I also would really like to see stronger affordability requirements for developers that are receiving tax incentives. We need those developers to be building more affordable units in the developments that they're using. And I'd also really love the city to explore an anti-displacement ordinance to really ensure that new development is not gentrifying the entire city, because we know it's already happening. So if we can get ahead of it, I'd really like to work on that.
Thank you. And Mo, you have 30 seconds.
Well, let me just say the statistics speak for themselves. Almost 2/3 of the people in Worcester rent versus own. I do think home ownership does help housing affordability, particularly if you can kind of minimize our multifamily units. I think there needs to be more education, more financial assistance, so that somebody who's renting and paying $2,000 a month for a 3-bedroom apartment can pay a lot less if they're able to buy a one-floor unit in a triple-decker. I will say one last thing as far as zoning. I do think we need to make it more favorable. I said that earlier, but I would not, this I may differ with some people on this podium, I would not eliminate single-family zoning.
Thank you.
Great. Good evening. This next question will go to Edson, and then we'll go Christian, Joe, Gemma, and then back to Edson for 30 seconds for the rebuttal, or final words. So this question is, one of the most important decisions that the council debates each year are local property tax rates. How will you approach the annual dual tax rate decision?
We're talking about dual tax decision, but we have 3 types of taxes. We have one for the industry, one for the house people, and one for the business. I think if we unify the taxes, that would be a better solution for everybody, because that will lower the taxes for some people, or for the majority of the people that live in Worcester, the house owner, but the business they will make even, because the companies, they make a lot of profit. The big business, they make a lot of profit from us, but they not give it back to the city.
Christian?
The dual tax rate is something that's been before us for some time. We know that increasing taxes each year is necessary in order to have service provision to meet the needs of our city. I'm very proud to have led this year in promoting a personal property tax exemption for small businesses that will not impact the tax levy. The challenge of this is that increasing taxes disproportionately on homeowners and renters, folks on fixed incomes, in a situation where we have affordability challenges is just not possible. The real solution is to increase our tax base and generate more revenue.
Thank you. Joe?
Thank you. We've discussed this issue over the years since I've been on the council. One year, we'll never hit a single tax rate. That's probably impossible. But I think you have to be fair to both businesses and residents. You got to protect the residents. What we don't want to happen is become a bedroom community. And that's why we have to support the businesses too. Last year was probably the first time in several years where we gave a break to both the businesses and the residentials by looking. The majority of the council did pass that. So we have to expand the tax base. We need to bring more businesses in here. We got Green Tech Park coming, which is going to have 50 acres of land of new business coming here into the city of Worcester. We got Wuxi company up there on Belmont Street. Another one's going to expand the tax base. We got AbbVie, who's going to be put $70 million into an expansion here. So that all works. And the businesses, you have to work with the businesses to make it happen here in the city of Worcester and then be part of the community, but you also have to protect the residents at the same time.
Thank you. Gemma?
Thank you. We know that Worcester is in the cost and quality of living crisis as well as housing crisis, and we need to do everything to ensure that long-time families, residents are not priced out of the city. And unfortunately, we have families that are facing these issues. Families should be able to put down their roots in our city of Worcester for generations, and that is what I will be committed to doing once I'm elected. We know that Massachusetts municipalities are limited in their taxing-based power, as mentioned, but Worcester can explore other opportunities, such as taxing high-end luxury development, creating more public-private partnerships, applying for state and federal grants, and expanding local business incentives that stimulate economic development and increase the city tax base over time.
Thank you. And Edson, you have 30 seconds.
Yeah. A sanction for big business and big investor prove there is not the solution. We have to review this kind of exemption and we have to explore different options for Worcester. Because right now, this is hitting the people that live in Worcester. And we don't have to forget the people is the important here, not the big business, not the big investor that coming from out the city. It's the Worcester city people.
Thank you. Question 3 will be addressed to Joe, then Aura, Caden, and Jessica, and then it will return to Joe. Question 3. There is a local ballot question asking whether Worcester's private colleges and universities should make contributions to the city based on their endowments. What is your position on this proposal? How should the city approach its relationship with higher education institutions to ensure that these relationships are mutually beneficial? Joe?
Sure, since I'm one of the people who signed on to that, the community benefit package from the colleges, I think, would go a long ways. Always looking at a small percentage that would go into a fund, just almost like an investment. And you get a return on the investment. So they would invest here in the city of Worcester. We put that into a project. And that project made money, would reimburse the college and universities. I think it's important to keep, and one of the reasons we're so successful in the city right now is because of the colleges and universities. And it's good to keep a good working relationship with them, make sure we all can benefit from each other, which we have in the past. We have a number of funding issues. We have a number of, looking at what's going on in the federal government. We're going to be looking at funding from every source here in the city of Worcester to make sure that our people in the city of Worcester get the services that they need and here in the city. So working with the colleges and making sure that we're all on the same page. I know the managers in negotiations with them right now, and hopefully they'll come back pretty soon with a recommendation to the council.
Thank you. Aura?
Okay, I think we can make a moral play to the colleges and let them know that if you are enjoying our safer streets, like emergency services, police services, fire services, and everything else, you could as well make some contributions, some contribution to help fund city services. So I guess that would be more of a moral thing, and we can hopefully get them to understand that. Thank you.
Thank you. Caden?
Thank you. So the proposed ballot question on the endowment contributions is non-binding. So I think, as Aura mentioned, we can try really hard to work with our colleges and universities who play a vital role in culture and the growth of our cities. I do agree that there should be more transparency around development projects, and the city should be a part of those processes in terms of understanding how developments by universities will impact neighborhoods. But again, we can't require them based on that ballot question to tax their endowments. So I think I really value a collaborative partnership, trying to see where the city can support them and they can support us, and just try to work together through that.
Thank you. Jessica?
Thank you. So our two largest employers are UMass Memorial Health and UMass Chan. And I recognize the good that they do here in Worcester. So I would like to propose a higher ed city collaboration to align workforce, service, and infrastructure goals. I think this partnership would do well for our city, it would do well for the people, and do well for our higher ed institutions. We have an economy that's driven by these colleges, by these universities, and I think that we need to expand upon it more, be better with a clear line of communication. And I was told, Jessica, don't make folks mad with this, so I won't on that. But we need them, they need us, and I think this collaboration would go a long way. So once again, aligning the workforce, service, and infrastructure goals, and creating that pipeline so it's the gift that keeps on giving. Thank you.
Thank you. Joe, final thoughts?
Sure. Again, we've always had a good working relationship with the college and universities. We continue to do that. What drove some of this was back early this year, last year, was when we found out the hotels were going to be sold and taken off the tax rolls, and also on the Rotman's property, that was going to also be, we don't know if it's going to be taken off the tax rolls. So we just want to be notified when there's development occurring here in the city of Worcester, that we can participate in that and also be a partner in that.
Thank you.
And question number 4 is starting with Caden, so he'll get 30 seconds at the end as well. It's also going to Gary, Gemma, and Christian. So the 4th question is, the city manager is hired by the city council. How do you believe the city manager is performing? What does oversight of the manager mean to you? Let's start with Caden.
Sure, thank you. So I am encouraged by many of the initiatives and focus areas of the city manager. I think that the city manager should be measured or evaluated rather based on both measurable outcomes. For example, the fiscal year 2025-29 strategic plan. I think that provides a useful framework, but I also think those types of plans can't account for the ever-changing needs of our community. So I think in order to evaluate any leadership, but particularly the city manager as kind of the head of our city, we need to have ongoing community input and kind of making sure that we're getting that qualitative feedback. I'm really appreciative of his focus on the Vision Zero safety plan and reducing efforts to reduce gun violence. And I really look forward to hoping to work together on increasing transparency and responsiveness in the city.
Thank you. Gary, you have 1 minute.
I'd like to see City Manager Batista to get out in the community a lot more. I've attended over the years, and especially the last few months, various neighborhood meetings, and I don't see him there, and I think they would love to. The previous city manager, I used to see very often. So they have different styles, I understand that. But I think Eric Baptista would really gain some knowledge by getting out to the community, talking to people more often, and finding out what their concerns really are. When it comes to taxes, we had the question earlier about taxes, business taxes versus residential. I'd like to see a recommendation come from the city manager. That never happens. We have the councilors talking about their vision of what they see for the dual tax rate, but I'd like to see a recommendation from the city manager. And sometimes he surprises me. We have a big homeless problem here in the city of Worcester. We understand that. I don't think the way to deal with the homeless problem is to play loud noise, loud music.
Thank you. Gemma, you have 1 minute.
Thank you. I also want to echo on what Gary mentioned for as far as the city manager's community presence to be in all communities here in the city of Worcester, because that would definitely help in terms of understanding, knowing the people, the job more. I will also compliment his ability to use social media. I think since he's taken office, the use of social media videos and the little talk show that goes on really amplifies and gets the message across to what he's doing. I will also like to see more benchmarks on a lot of the ordinances and things that are directed from him or the cities. Like, for example, we talk about housing, we talk about taxes and all of these businesses. I would love to see a benchmark on the city's website that shows how we are moving from having zero housing, for example, to now we've built X, Y, and Z housing, and we're actually closing that gap. And more support for city staff. I think our city of Worcester staff needs a lot of support, whether that comes from leadership, from his leadership, or the community or council, but I will certainly appreciate those. Thank you.
And Christian, you have 1 moment.
Thank you. I measure the performance of the city manager in a couple of ways. One is technology and data that's collected and applied to operations and service provision, the ability to manage boards and commissions, and to bring to the council recommendations that he deems appropriate in order to guide policy and operations. I think an effective city manager also is out in the community, as was mentioned previously. The way we have to look at this is there's a number of departments here in the city. And right now, there's no performance evaluations that occur of cabinet members or department heads. And I'm looking for an infrastructure so that we can actually measure and evaluate how we're doing as a city. Lastly, the city manager's responsiveness to orders from the city council and the time frame within which they are filled is something that's also a part of his efficacy.
Thank you. Caden, you have 30 seconds for final words.
Sure, thank you. So I echo what the others have said, especially around community engagement. I think one of the areas that I look forward to working with the city manager on is really making sure that we aren't having reactionary and dismissive responses to community dissent, and really making sure that we are welcoming that engagement and using it to push us forward rather than shutting it down. So I think that's an area that I really look forward to focusing on.
Thank you. This next question, question 5, will be posed to all candidates, and so everyone will get 1 minute. There'll be no final words. The order of responses will be Gary, Mo, Jessica, Donna, Joe, Kate, Satya, Aura, Gemma, Caden, Edson, and then Christian. So the question, which first will go to Gary, is how do you plan to navigate recent tensions and heated debate at city council meetings?
I think in the past, when I served on both school committee and the city council, I was a good listener. I know when people come up to the rail and they talk, sometimes certain city councils over the years especially have not been listening. I always try to listen. I think that's so important. I don't think I would want to cancel a meeting, stop a meeting, and go home if people were protesting. I welcome everyone to come to a city council meeting. I certainly would be glad to hear their point of view. I think it was a few months ago, there was a crowd protesting outside the chamber, maybe outside even, then in the city hall, and then they came into the chamber and they were very loud and disruptive. I wouldn't have responded by just canceling that meeting and having the council go home. I would have gone down to the rail, I would have talked to the leaders and said, I'll give 5 or 6 of you a chance to speak. Then we have to get back to the city's business because we represent even the people that you're advocating for.
Thank you. Mo?
Well, I'm going to take a slightly different, to some people's surprise and some people's not surprise, position. I think we've tried hard, and we continue to try at the council to be respectful of everybody's voice. But unlike what Gary said, the fact that we had to have police escorts go to our cars during certain meetings when the meetings ended because of the level of threatening and intimidating language that was thrown at us justifies, in my opinion, canceling the meetings. And it's sad that that happens. It's sad that that happens. But with political violence that exists throughout the world, particularly in this country, you cannot just ignore the threats that come in the chamber. Now, I do believe 99.9% of the people that come in there because it's a marketplace of ideas, and we want to hear those ideas. But when it morphs into intimidating and threatening behavior, I have absolutely no issue and actually agree with the fact that the public themselves are in danger. Never mind the councilors. The meetings can't go on. I'm looking forward to future meetings where decorum and respect exists, even if we don't agree with each other. There's a way to do both. I'm sorry?
Oh, thank you. Time is up. Thank you. Jessica?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Sure. The question is, how do you plan to navigate recent tensions and heated debate at city council meetings?
I'm mindful of the tension, and everyone needs to feel safe. Yet, let me pose this question, or rather, it's a statement. You want to know why there's so much tension? Because someone isn't listening, and I'm not going to point any fingers. So it's time that we lead with evidence and empathy. City Hall is the people's hall. And so whatever it takes to be that bridge for all of us to come together, to hear one another out, and to keep this agenda going, and to keep progress moving, I'm all ears. Holla at you, girl. Thank you.
Thank you. Donna?
Thank you. Just to follow up on a few of the things that I've heard here. First of all, our listening part of our city council meeting has been extended tremendously. We've gone from a half an hour, which is our regular amount of time, to sometimes 3 and 4 hours. I believe that's listening. And if that's not listening, I don't know what is, because I'll be honest with you, we have sat there, we have listened, but when it becomes violent and it becomes nasty and there's names being called out from the audience, then everybody is in danger. And I had 2 women that sat through a city council meeting about a month ago, and I never saw them there before, and I asked, what are you doing here? And they said, this is our first city council meeting ever. And they said, we will never come back. And we had to have the police escort them out to their cars because they felt they were in danger. Not the city council, but the people that were in the audience. Thank you.
Thank you. Joe?
I understand that. This is the only form of government that people really have access to. It's hard to get into the State House. It's hard to get into the Capitol in Washington, D.C. And I really believe in allowing people to speak. I do listen. The council listens. There's a difference between listening and disagreeing on issues. We've let people speak and come in because this is an outlet for a lot of people. There's a lot of stress out in the community from the national level, and this is the only place they can come in and let their feelings be known. So I think it's important that we do listen, but I'm always respectful to people who come to that microphone, and we deserve the same respect back. And when we're in those meetings. As far as canceling the meeting, we did cancel one of the meetings, and after the manager shut down City Hall, tensions were very high. I received several phone calls. I had no intention to cancel that meeting, but as time went on, it became very clear to me there was a lot of tension in the community. I wasn't sure what was going to happen, but we did allow people to come and speak on the mic that night.
Thank you. Kate?
Yep, sure. So years ago, Jordan Levy and Ray Mariano were famous for getting at it on the floor. There were fireworks all the time. But there was an unwritten rule back then. You can disagree and you can argue on the floor, but you leave it on the floor. And then you respect each other. And that's not happening now. There's something new that's happening, and there's personal attacks on the floor from both the public and colleagues. And I don't know how to change it up other than say, do we start over now? Can we have a new start? Can we work together? And I think that that's something that's really important. Social media has played a huge role in all of this as well. After COVID, I think you've seen a lot of this expand. And I think it's something that our society right now is having a very difficult time with. I know I try to respect everybody. I try to give them an opportunity to talk and to listen, and I hope that people will respect me and not dismiss me or disparage me. Thank you.
Thank you. Satya.
I believe I have not been the city council yet, but I've heard and things that go on and the out of order things that are happening in the city council. I think we should first of all see that the safety is the most important thing. The city council, as well as the public, those who come to the city hall meetings, are safe. At the same time, I think law and order should be maintained. And we should see that we come up with some kind of a disciplinary action, discipline in the system, that one can only speak for so long. And we should stick by that rule. Not that they can speak for 3-4 hours and leave aside all the agenda of the city, which we never get to. I think it's our responsibility as a city council to see the agenda of the city, and if this kind of disturbance happens, we got to come up with some kind of policy that will not make them come and disturb it this way. So I'm all for maintaining law and order, but I would like to see that the city council continues the meeting, and the method should be established so that we can continue the meeting and not have this kind of disturbance in the law and order.
Thank you. Aura?
All right, thank you. So I'm for the First Amendment, but not hate speech. And I believe the City Hall, being the people's hall, should be a battleground of ideas and not a place for assault or to settle personal grudges. And to add to what Dr. Peppel said, I believe city councilors should get down to the streets, listen to them, attend neighborhood meetings, and hopefully they can, soften the grounds before it gets too heated at the City Hall. Thank you.
Thank you. Gemma?
We are the second largest city in New England. Tensions are inevitable. One thing that I've actually heard from everyone that's spoken here today is that our elected officials are afraid of the people that voted for them, and we need to address that. I do believe that as elected officials, we have to listen to communities, because when we do, such tension won't be an issue that we're hearing here today. But from what I've realized and saw, a lot of community members feels that their needs are not being attended to. I don't agree to any of the political violence that have happened, but also I want to say that I've been in protests. I've been as an elected official in cabin, and I want to say that a lot of the protesters, they come there with good intentions, and I have not seen a level of disordinance and violence that I'm hearing here today. If I'm wrong, I would love to be corrected. But we cannot be afraid of the people that are voting for us and coming to us for help. And when elected, I will ensure that you have my ear. Thank you.
Thank you. Caden?
Thank you. So I agree that I think there is frustration around not listening, but also just hearing testimony and not making action after that isn't enough. So it goes beyond listening. There's frustration with a lack of action as well. And that, as Gemma said, is going to build up. I also thank you, Gemma, for questioning how are we defining threats and violence. I think we need to be very, very, very careful and intentional about that. And then lastly, the piece I really want to highlight is the way people, or the dynamic we model for people on the council floor is huge. And so I think I would like to see some more respect amongst councilors to each other so that we can model what we want our city to be like, which is collaborative and respectful and can handle disagreements.
Thank you. Edson?
Everybody is talking about listening, and I think listening is the key. But because the listening give it to us different point of view, but we have to listen with empathy, with love, with compassion. I condone any kind of violence from any of the other side. And that reason we have to be there to build bridges. But it's listening with empathy, not just listening because you want to listen. No, it's just listening because you want to fix and you want to address. And right now it's a problem, then we have to fix the problem.
Thank you. And Christian?
Can you just repeat the question? I want to make sure I have the whole thing.
Sure. It's how do you plan to navigate recent tensions and heated debate at city council meetings?
I want to just state unequivocally, I am not afraid of the people. I am not afraid of the people. The best course of action as elected officials and leaders in this city is to proceed fairly. We've had an uptick in folks concerned that there's been viewpoint discrimination, people being treated differently when they come to the microphone by the chair, and this is a freedom of speech matter. There's also been a chill on civic engagement that's been voted by a slight majority of the council, where we've had less transparency and less accountability. We must make sure that this is a city that's governing, does not stop because folks are coming and expressing themselves. I've attempted to work with leadership here and making sure that those things don't happen. And I can tell you as a leader in the city that I will, even though being part and parcel to bomb threats, I will not turn and walk away in this city.
Thank you. Question 6. Question 6 order will begin with Gemma, then followed by Donna, Jessica, Aura, and then Gemma for the final words. So Gemma, while the city has seen many high-profile development projects come online in recent years, there has been many high-profile pauses in development as well. What projects are your priorities, and how can the City Council jumpstart paused or new projects?
Thank you. Worcester should address and prioritize development projects by adopting a strategic citywide focus plan that ensures a strategic prioritization of outside downtown and Polo Park in places like Greendale, Grafton, Verney, and other places in Worcester, and also expand the responsible development ordinance. I believe that doing these things will balance economic feasibility with equitable neighborhood investments and high standards for public return on investments. And given the challenging economic climate, which is like the high interest rates, our city resources must also be used to catalyze private investment that directly benefits the entire city. And when elected to City Council, my goal is to work with our community, our business development partners to ensure that we are actually, executing and prioritizing the plans, the plans that we have designed. We are actually meeting those benchmarks and measures. Thank you.
Thank you. Donna?
Thank you. The question is, how do we prioritize development projects? One of the things that I think is essential, and I think, that's the most important thing, is we have to prioritize housing. We have to make sure we have affordable and diverse units. We did pass the accessory dwelling units, and I also proposed last week on the council floor multi-generational homes, which is a new thing going throughout the country. The multi-generational homes kind of mirrors, when you used to live with your grandmother or your grandfather, and you'd have many generations living under the same roof. Well, this would do something that you would work with the colleges and say, well, this student needs housing, and maybe moving in with an elderly person who has an empty room might benefit each one of them, and there'd be some good things that would happen. So that, and I would be in favor of some small businesses in creative industrial through incentives like some TIFs, And one project that we have now is called the
Thank
Green...
you.
Oh, okay.
Jessica?
Thank you. Prioritize projects that deliver community benefit, affordability, sustainability, and equity impact assessments before approval. I believe that development priorities should create some sort of economic ecosystem, mixed-use spaces, small business incubators, arts, local hiring, and of course, affordable housing. Let me also add this spin as well. I also think that we need to invest in small businesses that are especially owned by women and people of color. This could mean access to low-interest loans, technical assistance, and local procurement opportunities, including partnering with the Chamber of Commerce and other local credit unions. Thank you.
Thank you. Aura?
Okay, I would support projects that prioritize, prioritize a project that caters to the needs of the residents, like in housing or youthful talent development, and something that caters to our senior population. And also, we also think about the community benefit analysis in awarding these projects. And this is something that I'm going to be supporting. Thank you.
Thank you. Gemma?
I maintain, again, the expansion of responsible development to expand the responsible development ordinance to all cities' projects that use cities' funds. I also want to echo what Jessica mentioned in terms of supporting, the need of different types of small businesses here in the city of Worcester, especially utilizing the diverse supplier education, certification here in the city of Worcester to ensure that we have a database that can streamline all of these processes to make it easier and feasible. Thank you.
The next question is question 7. So the order is going to be directed to Jessica, then Kate, then Christian, and then Gary, and then recycle back to Jessica for a 30-second final word. So that question is, in December 2024, the United States Department of Justice and the United States Attorney's Office for Massachusetts released the results of their investigation into the Worcester Police Department in the city of Worcester. What do you think of the findings, and what additional steps, if any, do you propose as a result?
Public
Jessica?
safety. Ooh, can I go ahead? Sorry about that. Public safety isn't just about policing. It's about trust, prevention, and partnership. I understand and have heard a lot about the DOJ findings in the report. And what's sticking out to me is looking at other cities and what they have done to grapple with this, especially post-pandemic and post-racial reckoning and things of that nature. I would like for us to build bridges. I would like for us to have accountability. I would like for us to take a look at those metrics in the data dashboard to see where we are still lacking when it comes to the recommendations that were completed, or to the recommendations that were listed out by the DOJ. I also want to add that there needs to be a civilian review board to take a look at the recommendations to make sure we're following up with that. And let me just add this if I can. If there's a presence, let it be personal. Get to know my first name. Thank you.
Kate, you have 1 moment.
Repeat, which question is it?
In December 2024, the U.S. Department of Justice and the U.S. Attorney's Office released the results of their investigation into the Worcester Police Department in the city. What do you think of the findings, and what additional steps, if any, do you propose as a result?
Okay, certainly. I think that everyone who saw that was disturbed reading that. But in response, the chief acknowledged action needed to be done regarding policies and had already established, prior to this coming out, a policy review committee that includes community members. All policies are on the website. New software is coming to be able to address the lack of data in some areas. The action steps are listed on the website and updated as to status. The DOJ has not, to this day, responded to questions asked for more information so that investigations into specific matters can begin. We still don't have clarity. In the meantime, the chief has responded to the majority of the issues that were brought up. In addition, the chief has started the process of national accreditation, which would hold the Worcester Police Department to the highest standards. And I think that that's extremely important to note, that that is a process that's going to have ultimate transparency, and I fully support the chief and all of his efforts to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Christian?
The findings of the Department of Justice's investigation are serious. I've been proud to lead in questioning and getting a response from the chief where he admitted to the aspects of that report that he deemed credible. Now, there's additional things that we have to do. One of the things is the data. We are not collecting data. Part of that report is on disproportionate use of force against communities of color, and it was not able to determine that that use of force was racist or anything else. And the reason why is because you have to collect the data. There's additional work to be done here. It should not be a battle. The union needs to get on board. I'm very disappointed that the city manager and the mayor, released a press release prior to the findings of the DOJ to be released, which completely undermined it and moved the public's perspective on things.
Thank you. Gary?
The DOJ report of 2024 had some very, very serious charges against some handful of our Worcester police officers. And I'm not an attorney. I didn't study the report, read it, heard a lot about it. But if there's proof that any of the police officers in the city of Worcester are guilty of those charges, then certainly those police officers should be punished. I have no doubt about that. But I would have to be sure that there's proof in the report, we have proof that they should be punished. I would send that report to the state's post commission and let them take a look at it. Maybe we can't have a fair look at that report here in the city of Worcester. I don't know if we can or we can't. But certainly at the state level, they could do that. Chief Saucier, I think, is a very good man. I think he's the right leader for the Worcester Police Department. I have faith in him that he's making changes in the police department now. Thank you.
And Jessica, you have 30 seconds of final words.
I think that what everyone just mentioned is spot on. It's correct. I agree with everything. The only thing that I would like to add that is real safety coming from the police comes from connection, not control. I respect what's been written. I respect what's been released. But I also want to make sure that we're not just talking the talk, we're walking the walk, and that is also known as culture, going beyond what's listed as strategies, but making sure that that the police and that everyone else humanizes the good work that's going to be continuing to happen moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you. This next is question number 8. It'll be first posed to Christian, then Satya, Aura, Donna, and then back to Christian. The question is, how should the city address the shortage of shelter beds and wraparound resources for its growing homeless population? Christian, you have 1 minute.
Thank you. The one thing that I know is that we are going to be having some funding challenges from the federal level and from the state level. We've already seen a decrease in local aid for the city of Worcester. We see cuts on the school side as well, and this is a significant challenge. I have challenged the city manager to control what's in the control of municipal government, and that is our Health and Human Service Division is one of the lowest funded divisions in the city, and I've challenged him to expand that capacity of outreach workers and social workers employed by the city to respond and deal with those services and refer for those services for this population. We can do that without increasing the tax levy by looking at vacancy factors, tightening up on our overtime, and reorganizing city government. That's how we must move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Satya?
I think the homelessness is a serious problem. No city should have this problem. I think we should try to find a way to resolve this. I know what it is like because I myself grew up homeless when I was growing up in my childhood. But there are challenges to meet this and solve this problem, because we need to build some more shelters. We need to have some ways to see that the homeless people are not wandering around and just not having any place to live. I think we should make every effort as leaders to see that we get the funding to get more shelters. I was door knocking different places, and one elderly gentleman told me that long time back, he was probably in his late 80s, he said that there used to be a place where these unhoused people used to be sent. He used to call the poor park, where they will go and work in the farm and also get a shelter to live there. So in a way, you find a way to engage them, to do something, and also try to find a place to shelter them. So I think we should have some innovative ideas.
Thank you. Aura, next to you.
Okay, first of all, we should identify the causes of, we should work to identify the causes of homelessness. Okay, we are all one news away from getting homeless. It could be like, like huge medical bills, bankruptcy, anything that happens. First, all I want us to do is extend a helping hand to them, try to demystify homelessness, to make them feel that it is not a crime to be homeless. People fall on hard times. Okay, we could also work on expanding mental health and social services to them. And how about expanding affordable housing units? Or we have a lot of abandoned like factories here, or like old houses here that we could turn into homes for them. I think the city can do better. Homelessness is not a crime. People do fall on hard times, and it's up to the city to help to, solve that issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Donna?
Thank you. So I have a little different take on this. I have a little bit of a background being a psychotherapist and working in the field for a little bit. One of the things that I understand is that the permanent housing, supportive housing, isn't really the way to go. One of the things that I see is that I support temporary housing for the homeless population. And the reason is that the major problems for the chronically homeless is usually a good portion is mental illness and substance abuse. And the temporary shelters with a mandate for treatment should be the solution. Leaving people in tents up to 6 months only encourage drug use and isolation. It's inhumane to leave people in the woods to die. Solutions should include short-term shelters, moving people off the streets, and more mental health and substance abuse treatments. Thank you.
Thank you. And Christian, you have 30 seconds.
Thanks. I'm proud to have led on the establishment of a women's shelter that's now permanent here in the city of Worcester. I also want to say that we need to build a coalition with other gateway cities to make sure we're getting our fair share of funding for dealing with the population that's coming from outside and within Worcester. And then lastly, I wanted to make sure that we understand that this also impacts our kids that are going to school. And Maslow's hierarchy of need as a social worker here for 30 years requires that you have a base that's stable in order to lift yourselves up out of life circumstances.
Thank you. Question 9. We'll begin with Aura, then Mo, then Gary, then Kate, and back to Aura for the final thoughts. Question 9. The city has invested resources into its Keeps Worcester Clean program. Has it paid off? Are there additional efforts that you'd propose? Aura.
Okay, the question again.
You would like me to read the question again?
Sure.
The city has invested resources into its Keep Worcester Clean program. Has it paid off? Are there additional efforts that you'd propose?
Okay, I think it's paid off in some way, but I'm yet to see the data on how the overall thing has, let's say, succeeded. So I think Worcester has a chance to be a statewide leader in green energy, and but that's only if we act boldly now. So what I'm gonna propose is clean energy transition. That's the expand solar on schools and municipal buildings and parking lots to lower the city energy costs. I'm also proposing that a support for residents and for residents and businesses, and this is what I'll ask that we could launch initiatives and partnerships to help homeowners, landlords, and small businesses to access solar energy. Lastly, I'm also going to propose, a green jobs pipeline. And with that, we could partner with Worcester's colleges, trade schools.
Thank you. Mo?
Could I just ask you, the response I just heard was regarding energy. I just want to make sure I wrote the question down correctly. Could you just repeat
Yes,
that?
I will read it again.
Thank you.
The city has invested resources into its Keep Worcester Clean program. Has it paid off? Are there additional efforts that you'd propose?
Thank you. Thank you. I did have the question correctly. So, has it paid off? That's a question that's very hard to answer. But I will say that any effort is worth the effort because we want to have a cleaner city. Some of the suggestions I would have, there are not receptacles, trash receptacles, in a number of places where there should be. The city has introduced some of late, but certainly in dense business and residential areas, the city needs to invest in having large receptacles so that it's easier to dispose of trash. When it comes to the bigger bulk items, Ballard Street, where we have our bulk items picked up and dropped off, needs to be open, and I'm not the only council that has said this, not that 2 or 3 days a week it's open, it needs to be open 7 days a week, and I would actually go one step further, 24 hours a day, so that if somebody's moving out of a unit, they have a place to dispose of their items. If somebody's on vacation and their trash isn't picked up, they can drop it off. If it's a windy day and they don't want their trash thrown all around the street, they can keep it and drop it off at Ballard Street. Thank you.
Thank you. Gary?
As I stand at the intersections on the street corners, I have seen so many of those bins, the new bins the city has put up for trash and recycling. And I'll tell you, I take a look at all of them, and a lot of times my water bottles and so on, I throw them in, and they are getting full. I've seen some emptied. The people are doing well with those bins. Now, do we need them in more places? We do, but I don't want to knock the program. The program has started out so well. So the bins, to me, are very important. I still see so many things like nip bottles. I wish the city could somehow, maybe it's a state problem, but the city, if we could only have a 5-cent deposit on the nip bottles, there'd be no nip bottles in all those gutters where I stand. So, we should do that. I don't know why we wouldn't do it. We don't see many soda cans and soda bottles as we did, certainly years ago. But it's incumbent upon everyone in the city to pick up litter. We should all be doing that.
Thank you. Kate?
Thank you very much. Worcester's made notable strides in addressing litter, and I think since you've seen this last effort in August, it's really made a difference. But there's a lot more that needs to happen in certain neighborhoods as well. Things that I would propose to do is to expand the public trash infrastructure and add bins near the schools and parks and transit stops. Reform the yellow bag program, everybody's favorite, right? Make it more affordable and accessible. Continue expanding pilot-free drop-off days for bulk trash, and then fund community cleanups. Providing grants to neighborhood groups for litter patrols and beautification. Offer stipends for youth-led cleanups during summer months. Strengthen enforcement and education. And funding. No one ever talks about funding. How are we going to do this? So there's a Mass DEP Recycling Dividends Program that we received a grant, Community Preservation Act, ARPA and CDBG funds, and private sponsorships utilizing Expand, Adopt an Island, and bin sponsorship programs. Thank you.
Thank you. Aura, final 30.
All right, so sorry I got a call on the question wrong. So I am not in favor of the yellow bags because I think they are susceptible to rodents and attacks, and that's contributing to the city getting dirtier. I will support the huge dumpsters for each neighborhood. I'm also gonna stand for proactive announcements for pickup days, especially after holidays, and even for rainy days when they are not able to come. I'm also gonna support fines for littering, and I also see that we can have a volunteering opportunity for our youths and who go around picking up trash in their neighborhoods. Thank you.
The good news is you're next. So, question 10 goes to all. So I'll read the order. Obviously, it's a long order. Bear with me. It starts with Aura, Gary, Satya, Joe, Mo, Donna, Gemma, Jessica, Kate, Christian, Caden, and then Edson. So I'll call on each of you. Don't worry, there's a lot of people here, but just want to give you some idea. The question is, cities like Worcester rely heavily on federal support for health and social services, with proposals to cut programs such as Medicaid, SNAP, and other federal funding streams. How should Worcester respond to protect residents and maintain essential services? So Aura, goes to you first.
Okay, I believe Worcester can take care of itself from within, especially if the federal programs or the grants are not in line with Worcester's objectives. So we could help, we could, let's say, make the citizens aware these are the shortfalls and these are the programs. It's all about, let's say, information, letting people know where we're struggling and what we can do. So we could also target, let's say, our programs on where it's needed. We could cut off some programs which are not so important, and also make sure that wherever we are spending we're spending on targeted, more needed areas. Thank you.
Thank you. Gary, you're next.
I think that we have to really work with Congressman McGovern, Senator Warren, Senator Markey on this. As we know what's going on at the federal level, there's a lot of law breaking, a lot of presidential edicts that really are not legal, and we have to fight against that. We have to make sure that people in need in this city continue to get the help they need, the financial aid that they need, that we all need for them. So I would talk to our senators, I would talk to our congressmen and saying this is not acceptable, we have to do better, and they're the people who we've elected to help us. You know, we can complain at the local level, oh, woe is me, but that doesn't do any good. It's reaching the people at the national level, and there have to be people in Congress and in the Senate who have the courage to stand up and say this is wrong and we won't accept it.
Thank you. Satya?
Whenever there is a lack of funding, I think that boils down to see that what we can do with what we have in our hands. It's just a simple thing that we do at our home. If there is less lack of funding, we'll try to live with what we have. And then we'll see that what programs are essential and what are not essential to reduce them so we can live within the limits that we have. But we have to newly create a new budget. We have to see that everything that we are doing is important, affordable housing, school, safety of the road, which are probably the primary things that we should keep. But at the same time, I think this is something that the new budget should come from the city manager to the city council. It is not the city council's roles, I think, at the time to recreate the budget. It should come from the city manager, and then we should work on it. And that's where I would stay.
Thank you. Joe?
Again, this is something we'd have to work with our state and federal partners to make sure we do not get the funding cut, even though it's with Medicare or SNAP programs. But if that happens, right now we're also with the schools. The schools seem to be fine. They get their funding for the year. But there's going to be some community impact. But we've always worked together as a community, and that's important as they cut funds. We have to Worcester together, people that work, make a difference here in the city of Worcester. So if some of these are cut, some of the funds, look at, even when it's shut down, they're talking about $16 million gap between fuel assistance program starting in November. $16 million, that's just for the city of Worcester. So that's going to be a big number that we'll all have to address as a community. And I think we have the right people to do it. I know I went through the city through COVID, whether through budget cuts back in 2008, and also Hurricane Maria, just making sure people get the services they need and food that they need, and we will make sure that happens. Now, we have to make some tough decisions on the budget. Most of our budget is for employees, so that's something we have to look at. We've done it before, and I just don't want to see us go down that road. We need to advocate and strongly say no more cuts.
Thank you. Mo?
Well, I do agree that the state and federal level is really where the bigger part of this battle is going to take place. But that doesn't mean we can't do things as a city. And some of the things I'm going to suggest we do, we need to make sure our budget is lean so that there's available cash resources that may be able to help certain programs be subsidized. We need to at least reach out to the large corporations that are in the city of Worcester, see if we can partner with them to provide some assistance. And the religious organizations have always been partners with the city of Worcester in times of dire need, and certainly they can be engaged and hopefully can contribute to offset some of the needs that are going to be in the community with these cuts. I will also say that we need to reach out to our hospitals, because with Medicare being cut and other potential benefits, our hospitals have to be sensitive to the fact that people may need emergency care and may not have the ability to pay for it. And lastly, let me just say something about the city of Worcester. We need to also be helpful. And some of the ways we can be helpful is spread out our tax, water, and sewer bills and other bills that maybe are due quarterly and biannually. And if we have cuts and people are hurting, maybe we need to develop a program where we can stretch them out over a year.
Thank you. Donna?
Okay, I have some suggestions. One would be to leverage the tax cuts to attract more businesses. This will have a growth sector targeted in incentives like the TIF plans. Operational efficiencies, consolidate services, digital processes to trim like 3 to 5% administrative costs, launch a lean Worcester audit. Go to the state and federal advocacy, from coalitions with Massachusetts cities to lobby for state buffers and federal waivers. Reallocate to protect vulnerable groups, implementing sliding scale fees for non-essential services and community microgrants. Workforce and community resilience building, invest in upskilling for retaining people in different areas that are more desirable, and continue the emphasis on sustainable growth targets of 2 to 3%. Implementation would involve a mayor's-led task force with council, union, and nonprofits reporting quarterly.
Thank you. Gemma?
Yeah, so Medicare, SNAP, those are all essential, programs that support people on different strategies of life. So they're important, and like most of my colleagues here have mentioned, that is unfortunately an issue with the federal government, and I certainly do support that we connect with the congressmen and those who are serving us at the federal level to speak up and demand that these services are, continue to go forward. I will also say that Massachusetts have a millionaire tax, and I do think that Worcester should be able to leverage this to get its fair share to support the needs should anything happen. And we also should look into cutting costs. And one cost that I can think about is the security measure that City Hall has imposed. We can use that and cut that away and go back to how things work, because there is no real threat in Worcester. The Worcester PD monitors downtown City of Worcester, according to what I learned from the chief. And it's a safe city downtown. So we need to look at those ways. And then also I would support an emergency fund for residents that are in deep desired need of this support. Thank you.
Jessica?
We have to, as others have mentioned, we have to continue to look to local and state services to help close the gap. More importantly, I was just in conversation with a local church that has a food bank, and they were saying how there are some places that offer services once a month, some weekly. So we need to wrap around those places that may not have as much security to provide food banks every week to individuals. The person I spoke with, who runs the church, who runs the food bank every week, stated that he serves over 1,000 people each week. So we know the cuts are coming. Let's just go ahead and be proactive to see what we need to do about it. How can we wrap our hands around the Worcester County Food Bank? And also we need to make sure that we start early with Worcester Public Schools to make sure our kids, our students continue to receive meals daily, because it is going to happen. And while figuring out what we're going to cut, what not to cut, I think some sort of cost-benefit analysis will help us to determine what may need to be cut in order for us to fill this gap.
Thank you.
When it comes to shortages. Thank you.
Kate?
Thank you very much. I think it's really important that we conduct a local impact audit and then establish a federal cuts contingency fund. It's a dedicated reserve using free cash or stabilization funds to safeguard and buffer short-term shocks. We need to strengthen our partnerships with our nonprofits. We need to advocate for state-level support and push for state backfill funding in critical areas like Medicaid and SNAP. reprioritize our capital projects and focus on projects that are eligible for preserved municipal bond financing, which remains tax exempt under the OBBBA. Explore new revenue streams. Consider modest increase in local fees or public-private partnerships. Leverage opportunity zones, expanded low-income housing tax credits to attract investments, and protect vulnerable populations. Expanding the food pantries, school meal programs, and support community health centers facing mass health cuts.
Thank you. Christian?
This question epitomizes and validates the fact that all politics are local, despite what you may have heard over the past term. Here's what we know. We've had a $2.1 million decrease in state aid that had nothing to do with the feds, had to do with state aid in their budget. We know that there's been a $130,000 cut for the Food to Table program in Worcester Public Schools. We also know that $4 to $5 million comes from federal funding through the city for social services that could potentially be cut. We need to monitor those entitlement funds. If in fact this happens, there's three things we can do. We can use free cash, we can look at new growth that's over the budget, and we can reduce some of the awards that we give out. And also, we can look at contingency funding. Those are what we need to do in order to keep our head above board. But make no doubt about it, all politics are local.
Caden?
Yes, thank you. So as we keep hearing, we are in unprecedented times. And we know that the federal cuts are going to impact Worcester across the board, but those cuts are going to not be equal. They're going to be disproportionate depending on the service. So we know that the CDBG funding, which funnels so much money into our essential social services, is going to be hit really hard. So when the time comes, we are going to be faced as leaders with very difficult decisions, and I commit to prioritizing spending on what matters most, which is health, prevention, housing, and investment in community-based services. And to me, these are not just moral obligations, they are fiscally responsible because we know that these investments save money in the long term. We must also work, as others said, closely with our state leaders. Massachusetts has a really big rainy day fund. I'd like to see if we could try to really fight for that. I'm sure lots of communities will be. But ultimately, we need to be thoughtful about every dollar we spend, and we need to be honest about questions we're going to be tasked with, which is, should limited dollars go towards police drones or towards housing and mental health?
Thank you. Edson, you have the final 1 minute.
Okay. I think we have to review our expense like a city, because I see on Main Street trash container that costs $2,000. We don't need $2,000 trash container to beautify the city. We can find a cheaper solution, and they will do the same job. We don't need a Mercedes-Benz ambulance. We can do a local brand, and we can start to review how we spend our budget, how we can renegotiate and find cheaper solutions. Cheaper don't mean worse, not necessary. We have to think out the box. We have to design program where local provider, regional provider or partners, and we have to do partnership with the federal too. No little partners. Make sure that the result that we have go to the right people.
Thank you.
We have to planify the budget with a little room.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next question is question 11. We're going to go first to Gary, then Edson, Donna, Satya, and then back to Gary. The question is, Immigration and Customs Enforcement has been increasingly active in Worcester. In response to the Eureka Street incident, the city manager issued an executive order limiting local agencies' involvement with federal enforcement. How do you feel about the current guidelines? What would you propose? Gary?
I certainly would support that the Worcester Police Department does not aid and abet ICE in any way when they come to when they come to arrest any of our residents. I think what's going on across the country and even here in the city of Worcester is really terrible. A lot of these folks, it started out that the people who were going to be apprehended by ICE were these criminals, all these bad hombres, as we heard. Well, that certainly has changed. We have a lot of people in this country who are woven into the fabric of the USA, and we depend on them for work, for social services, for every other thing that's good about America. And to come and arrest them and take them away and have them spend time in jail for months and then let them out, we have some problems in this country, and we better not go after people who really are innocent, who came to the country years ago.
Edson.
I agree when he say the police not has to be involved with ICE. Why? Because the police not have the right training to de-escalate situation, this kind of situation. We need more social workers, we need more professional people. They have 8 years study in college. I think they can do better than one police with 1 year training in academy for criminal stuff. I think the police here in Worcester City, they had too much in their hands. They had to be everywhere. They had to respond for everything that is happening and put it more way without resources to the police is heavy for them, and they cannot handle this kind of situation. I think the city has to address in different way. I think the city has to find the right kind of professional to handle that kind of situation. Thank you.
Thank you. Donna.
Yes, so all these questions that you're asking are all on the police website. And one of the questions is, does federal immigration officers have full authority to enforce immigration laws anywhere in the country, including Worcester? The Worcester Police Department does not have the authority to prohibit federal immigration officers from coming into our jurisdiction, nor are federal officers required to obtain Worcester PD approval before taking action within the community. Another question, does the Worcester Police Department detain people based solely on immigration status? The answer is no. Does the Worcester Police Department enforce federal immigration laws? The answer is no. Can the Worcester police officers stop or detain someone solely to check on immigration status? The answer is no. Can I be detained or deported by the Worcester Police Department because of my immigration status if I report a crime or I'm a witness to a crime? The answer is no. Can I be detained or deported by the Worcester Police Department? Oh, okay. Okay, I had a lot to say there.
Thank you. We will now go to Satya.
You know, I think the rule of the law is the paramount thing here. ICE is a government entity. I think they are created by government, and they can come and do their things. But what is important here is to see that our citizens should be given the right to defend themselves. They should not be taken away from their dignity, and they should not be treated differently. I think that's where the execution of the ICE is something that I do not agree with. But the ICE is a government entity, it's a legal thing, and they can do whatever they want to do coming here within the law. But our police department has to do their job to maintain the law and order, and they will not be associated with the ICE. And I agree with what city manager has done, separate them. I think they should do their own role, but I think our citizens deserve dignity, deserve respect, and deserve the way everybody is treated. They should be treated the same way. So that's where I stand.
Thank you. Gary, you have 30 seconds.
The issue of immigration in the city of Worcester is not a problem caused by the Worcester Police Department. I think they've responded pretty well, and as I said, they shouldn't be assisting ICE in any way, and I don't think they really are. We have an out-of-control group in this country called ICE, and what they're doing, they barge into residents, they scare kids and people, they take people away who they shouldn't. They said they were going to start with criminals, and they haven't done that. We should be ashamed of ICE in this country and make no excuses for their existence.
Thank you. Question 12 in the order is Donna, Joe, Kate, Mo, and then final 30 with Donna. Question 12. Much of city council business occurs in standing committees. However, there are neither limits nor requirements for the frequency of committee meetings. Should there be a policy, and how often should standing committees meet? Donna?
Okay, thank you. I've been the chair of Parking and Traffic for the last 6 years, and it is the most busiest committee, the subcommittee there is. So saying that my pending list is right now, it could be close to 200 items, where other pending lists could be 10 or 12. So I have to have more meetings. I have meetings once a month, and now this next October, November, and December, I have an additional meeting, so I have 6 meetings before the end of the year. So I think it really depends on how many, what you have on your pending list, what's important to the community, do we have to hear of things right away? I think with my committee, it's imperative to have at least 1, if not 2 meetings a month.
Thank you. Joe?
Yes, it really depends on what's in the committee. So the chairs of those committees try to, when they get items in their committee, they're able to, they should have hearings on it. Our business committees are traffic and parking, and even once a month sometimes can put the chair of that committee behind. Public Works is another committee that meets on a regular basis. Sustainability is meeting on a regular basis, and mobility is meeting on a regular basis. And the policy that the council has, if something's not being done in committee, we can pull it out of the committee after a certain amount of time. So we do have some control of what goes on in the city council if the committee member's not doing their work. But most of the time it's just a discussion, ask people to meet, especially if the public has items that they want to hear, that the chairs do meet on a regular basis, because that's where people get the information from. They should at least once or twice a month, of at least, not once a month, at least once every 2 months if you don't have many items in there, to discuss what's in your committee so the public can understand what's going on in the city council. And that's what we get away from. The council's handling most of these issues. I think it's important that everything is sent to the subcommittee for discussion.
Thank you. Kate?
So I do believe that there should be a minimum of 1 meeting per quarter. And I think it's, as we all have understand, that you can only address the issues that are in your subcommittee that get referred to it. But that doesn't prevent anybody on the city council from referring an issue to a committee. It doesn't have to be the chair or a member. It can be anybody. And I think it's really important that we do more of the work in the committees. I'd recommend a committee be put in place to recommend policies and guidelines to establish that minimum meeting per quarter. And even if they're just talking about what's happened in the past or what they think should happen in the future, if it's more informal, then I think that's what should happen. But to not have a meeting, I know I had in the past 2 years 13 public safety meetings. Education Committee only had 3 in 2 years. Urban Tie only had 3 in 2 years. That's not okay.
Thank you. Mo?
I think that there's a lot of factors in play, one of which would be the urgency of the items that are pending before the subcommittee. The other factor would be the amount of items before the subcommittee. I think if you balance those two out as a chairperson of the subcommittee, usually, and I haven't heard much otherwise, the chairpersons put enough meetings on to address urgent matters and to reduce the amount of items that are pending. Having said that, I think it's imperative that constituents and any member of the public reach out to committee members, whether it's a chair or otherwise, if they feel an item is being delayed or is urgent. But I haven't heard that many people, if many at all, that have said that they don't think the subcommittees aren't doing their job. And I do think that we do meet as often, at least I do with my subcommittees, as often as the items warrant. And I haven't heard very much criticism otherwise. I think it's up to each chairperson to make up their own decisions, and I think that leniency and that flexibility is important because the chairperson knows their committee members best and knows the items best. And I think the mayor does a good job of appointing the chairs, and I think he does that because
Thank you. Donna?
Thank you. Just to follow up on a couple of the comments that were made. I believe that I do my meetings as often as I can, and to deal with the items that I have, it may not seem like a lot, but a stop sign or a speed hump or a light means a lot to the neighborhood, especially in the quality of life. So I just did rough estimate in my head, maybe 25 meetings in the last 2 years. So I have a lot of meetings, especially when we had the speed limit reduction. I had 5 neighborhood meetings, and I was very active in making sure that, we had enough meetings.
Question 13. Question 13 will go to Kate, followed by Caden, Satya, Edson, and then back to Kate. So question 13 is, school construction projects can improve educational outcomes and transform communities, but they also require the city to take on significant debt. Are there ideas for how the city can improve access to resources, such as the municipal bond market, to ensure schools have the facilities they deserve? Kate?
Thank you very much. There are certainly different areas that we can look at. Free cash allocations, municipal bonds. We regularly use tax-exempt municipal bonds for long-term capital projects, and they're essential for those large-scale builds and renovations. The MSBA, which, thank God, we're finally, after I think 14 tries, Burncoat's in the pipeline. Pilot agreements could certainly assist us, especially where it's the mission of higher ed, is education. That could certainly be an appropriate place to do a pilot. Federal and state grants, and we also should potentially look at strategic consolidation about facilities master planning processes. And we're already working on a citywide facilities master plan, and that's expected by the end of June of '26, which will guide decisions on our future projects. So I think that's really important, and I think that those opportunities to find funding would certainly be very helpful. Thank you.
Caden?
Thank you. So while the Worcester Public Schools are governed by the school committee, the council has an important role in supporting the efforts of the school committee. And so as a counselor, I would really defer to my colleagues on the school committee as to what's priority. I agree looking at bonds and grants and things like that in terms of financial capital. I think maybe also looking at public-private partnerships and trying to leverage philanthropic contributions might be something that we have to look at, particularly with, again, cuts coming up. But ultimately, I think any plan should be developed collaboratively with the school committee, educators, families, and residents, and with a focus on transparency throughout the way.
Thank you. Satya?
I support improving the schools. We need that from all points of view. The building, the equipment, the tools, everything is needed, but we know that it's very expensive. Funding is required. But most importantly, what is important is it's not the building so much important than the education. Having good education system is the most important thing in the school. But we should try to see that if we can get some extra funding. I am a very strong advocate of private entrepreneurs' partnership with the government. Government should always run with the partnership created by government with the entrepreneurs of our city. Worcester has a very generous business owners and entrepreneurs, and I think we should probably approach them to see if we can get their support. But I absolutely agree that our school system construction should be done so that all schools are at the same level as we see the Burncoat, which is extremely modernized school now. If not at that level, but every school should be seen that they have the bare minimum that is required for it to give the good education to everyone, every child in our
Thank
community.
you. Edson?
I agree with almost everything that Satya Mitra say about the school system, but we have to do partnership with the college here, with the university that we have here. They have a lot of space that they don't use, and we can use in partnership with them, and that will be enrichment for both sides. That will be enrichment for the student from college. They try to engage with the civic situation here in the school situation. My daughter used to go to Jacob Hyatt, for example, that is in Main Street, and they have partnership with Clark University, and the teacher there, they have a assistant there, but they can use the facility too. When they have a school program, they go to the college and they use these facilities there in Clark University. Why you cannot apply this for all the college here in the university? Why we cannot open partnership with regional school or different school for different town? They are smaller than Worcester and they have open space. We can travel there. We have it. We have the bus. We have the transportation. We can use this resource.
Thank you. Kate, you have 30 seconds.
Thank you very much. I do want to emphasize that the Worcester Public Schools and the City of Worcester are already working collaboratively on a citywide facilities master plan, which I said is expected by June 2026, and that will guide those decisions based on renovations, rebuilds, et cetera. I also want to mention, thanks to the Worcester Regional Research Bureau, it just came out with a new report on inequities that have been found on school funding across the state from the MSBA. And I think that that's something that I will look further into and will work with you and our legislature to ensure that we are able to get our share of the pie. Thank you.
Our next question is question 14. This is the final question before we'll move into closing statements. We'll go this question first to Satya, then Gemma, Mo, Joe, and then back to Satya for 30 seconds. The question is, Worcester Now Next envisions a denser city. Which transportation projects would you prioritize to accommodate many more residents? Satya.
I think transportation is one of the most important things that Worcester should have. The free bus system that we have started, I think that should be made probably permanent so that facilities are done and used. I'm very much in favor of seeing that system continues to be a permanent system. I think we should look after and how we can have a better transportation from Boston to our city or from here to other cities that we can go. Maybe the MBTA and the all other system that is available here should be worked on, and our transportation should be much more improved, not only within the city, but also from other town to this city, from here to other state. The city councilors should make all effort to make that happen.
Thank you. Gemma?
Thank you. So I appreciate all the work that went into the Now Next citywide plan, and a lot of things I actually like about it. But you talk about mainly about transportation. What I appreciate of that transportation plan is the need for there's the speed limits that we've implemented here in the city of Worcester, and council also voted on that, 25 miles per hour. However, even with the implementation of that plan, we as council or we as a city need a better measure in terms of how to regulate such a speed limit because in certain parts of the city, especially around schools and where more elderly developments are, speeding is excessive. Also prioritizing the fixing of our roads and fixing signage on roads. When you're driving in many parts of the city, you cannot even read the road. It's so bad, you cannot read it. I don't even know how seniors and people with disabilities are actually driving here in our city of Worcester. So those are things that the plan highlights. And also a potential for high walkability and transit access to support sustainable growth, business and developing job growth in the city of Worcester. So thank you so much.
Mo?
Thank you. For those that drive, I've always been a proponent of synchronized lights, particularly on major roads during commuting hours. I think it's unfair and not very effective to be stopping at every red light. Major cities do synchronized lights. When it comes to those that commute, need to go to Boston, we need to have more express trains. The number of train rides and the days and hours that they're currently exist is not enough. Lastly, the WRTA. Yes, I am for fare free, always have been. But at the end of the day, the WRTA doesn't provide for the masses of people in the city of Worcester the stops and the frequency and being on time that it needs to do in order for that system to work for the majority of people in the city of Worcester. It's virtually impossible to take the WRTA to many places, and for us to be a vibrant city that provides that type of service, we need the WRTA to step up its game.
Thank you. Joe?
I do agree with Mo on the red lights, rush to get to the next red light. So something that we can look at and synchronize lighting. But I think the WRT just needs to stand up and really come up with some better routes and really be part of the community. Look at the modify the hub and spoke model. I'm not sure if it works that well. And you really look at, they have 26 fixed routes. They have 1,100 bus stops, 37 shelters, and 27 owned by the WRTA. So I think more can be done there, make people comfortable. And if you really think about it, when you talk about parking minimums, if you don't have an RTA, it's going to create a problem because people are going to want their cars, right? It's going to create a problem in the neighborhood. I also put a task force together for the MBTA. I meet with them on a regular basis, a monthly basis. We have a committee set up along with DOT comes to that, and we have some guest speakers. And they already put data together. They actually, for the first time in years, and Worcester was one of the busiest routes for the MBTA coming back and forth to Boston. So hopefully in the future, we meet with them on a regular basis. We try to get the extra train. Thank you.
And Sachio, 30 seconds.
Yes. I think if you look at the population of Worcester, it has grown tremendously. Along with that, I think our infrastructure has not been incompatible with that. Transportation is one of those issues that we have to solve. Where we are going to be working with MBTA, WRTA, and all that are there, I think we should have to think something innovative. We have to reduce, I like the idea of zero vision there, which reduces the traffic control and also reduces the safety. Gives us the safety and reduces the accidents. We should think out of the box. We should come up with seeing what other cities are doing, something like TDM system, transportation demand management. I think that's something should be looked at to make the city more safer.
Thank you. Okay, now we're going to begin the closing statements. I am going to hold you all to your 1 minute. You will all have 1 minute. You will see that I brought this. You have 1 minute. So the order will be Donna, Ora, Satya, Joe, Gemma, Gary, Kate, Christian, Jessica, Caden, Morris, and Edson. So we'll begin with Donna.
I just want to thank everyone for coming. It's been a really great forum, and thank you for all of you that helped put this together. My name is Donna Colorio, and I humbly ask for your vote on Tuesday, November 4th. Thank you.
Thank you. Ora?
Okay, I want to thank the organizers for hosting this honest program. I think Worcester stands at a turning point, and we can choose politics as usual, or we can choose progress that includes everyone, from our small businesses to our non-immigrants. So this is what I think Worcester deserves leadership that listens, builds, and delivers. And together we can make our neighborhoods safe and our housing more affordable. Our police can serve with dignity towards residents, and our citizens will trust the law enforcement. I am for rent control, inclusionary zoning, ADUs, and I'm not in favor of the yellow trash bags. And I also stand with our teachers and our nursing unions. I'm counting on your vote November 4th. Thank you.
Thank you. Satya?
Over 40 years ago, I chose Worcester. I chose Worcester because it welcomed me as an immigrant. I chose Worcester because it gave me the chance to build a life. I chose Worcester because its spirit of hope matched with my own. Worcester fulfilled its promises to me, and I want the same promise to be given to everyone else. Worcester let me live an American dream. It let me believe that our city may elect its first Indian American councilor. And if that happens, if the city elects me, the city will show that Worcester voters give opportunity to everyone, irrespective of nationality, ethnicity, race, or any tradition. It only chooses the people who are able, who are qualified, who has the heart, and who has the skill. And that's what the Worcester is going to give the message if they elect me. And I will be the very honored person to carry that message. So I request all of you, just like I chose Worcester, Worcester chooses me so that I get the chance to humbly serve this city as a servant, to a person who can unite, who can bring the civility back in there, and we see that a concept of
Thank
teamwork
you.
comes in. That's what I would like.
Joe?
I thank you. First, I just want to thank the organizers, the Research Bureau, the Telegram, our panel. And Kim, if you want to come to a city council meeting, do the gavel, you're more than welcome, shutting people off. But no, it's been an honor of my life to serve as mayor during Worcester's resurgence from an afterthought to a rising star in America. We have momentum in housing, education, public safety, and business development. We are living up to the ideal of the land of opportunity. We're going in the right direction when it comes to our schools, our safety, our jobs, families, entertainment, and togetherness. We are a compassionate city. You know it in your heart. Believe in Worcester as really the heart of the Commonwealth. I am so proud of this city. I love this city, and I'm proud of all you who are here tonight. We should stay united. We're going to have to be united. Together we can keep the momentum going. And only together can we keep the momentum going as a city. Thank you.
Thank you. Gemma?
I believe in a Worcester where everyone belongs and everyone has a fair shot. Too many families here struggle just to keep a roof over their heads, to send their kids to good schools, and to feel safe in their neighborhoods. I have seen that struggle up close, and it drives me every day. This isn't about politics or policies for me. It's about real people with real lives. I am ready to fight for a city where no one has to choose between paying rent, putting the food on the table, where our seniors and veterans can age with dignity in their own homes, and where our children have the chance to thrive. I am running an aggressive campaign, knocking over 10,000 doors, meeting with residents who are simply sometimes fed up. I'm ready to bring my experience to City Council and my track record of hard work to serve you, your families, and all of Worcester residents. From serving the school committee, I am dedicated, I showed up, and that's what I intend to do for all of Worcester residents. You would never doubt my presence on City Council. My focus is on making our streets safer, investing in our economic to create good jobs, and holding developers accountable while creating affordable housing. Number 3 on the ballot this November 4th. Thank you.
Gary?
Just want to give a tip of my hat to the 11 other colleagues, at-large colleagues in this campaign. This is the strongest field of at-large candidates in Worcester memory. And, you know, I praise them for that. Real quickly, a few things I'd like to do if I'm elected to the next city council. Charter review, we haven't mentioned that tonight. Our charter is 40 years old. It's about time we review it. I'm not saying changes. There may be many changes, there may be no changes, but maybe a charter commission, working with the city council, of course, you know, we can maybe look at it and see if we can improve it. Traffic enforcement. I think you all know, you realize what's happening out there on our streets. I see it at every corner. Lane violations, going through red lights. I mean, the light was green, you know, 50 feet away. They still keep going. They see the red and they keep going. We have to have more traffic enforcement. Finally, transportation. I was the chairman of the WRT board when we implemented Fare Free, and I will certainly support that as long as I am a member of the Worcester City Council. Thank you all.
Thank you. Kate?
I want to thank everyone for putting this debate together. It's always good when people get to hear from the candidates directly. Great things are happening in our city, and I'm very proud of all we have accomplished. The city's much different than it was 20 years ago, and that's a good thing. But the job isn't done, and there's always more to be done. We have multiple housing projects under construction with others being planned. Abby just announced a $70 million expansion. The St. Gobain Norton Company site's moving forward as Green Tech Park, and we still need to be looking at developing Route 20. New schools, with Doherty being the latest and hopefully New Burncoat High and Middle as well as East Middle on the horizon. Some things don't change. The key priorities are the same. Streets and sidewalks, schools, jobs, and public safety. They might seem like small things, but they are life in this city, and we will continue to advocate for them. We're 27 days from the November 4th election. Early voting starts and goes Saturday, October 25th, goes Friday, October 31st from 9 to 5. The most important thing you can do is vote, and I humbly ask for one of your 6 votes for Councilor at Large on number 9 on your ballot, and I hope first in your heart. Thank you.
Thank you. Christian?
I respect the value of stability in city government, governance. Our residents deserve consistency and reliability, but true leadership isn't just about maintaining course. It's about adapting, listening, and responding when our city needs change. Worcester has grown and evolved, but many of our systems have not kept pace. Folks want more from local government. They want better streets, sidewalks, and potholes filled. And lastly, the Worcester City Council is not divided. We are diverse. The most diverse city council in the history of this city, and they're diverse in constituency, diverse in values, and diverse in priorities of governance. Difference is the bedrock of democracy.
Thank you. Jessica?
Thank you again to our hosts for creating this opportunity to share our vision for Worcester's future. Tonight you've heard ideas, but this campaign is about more than ideas, it's about impact. My life's work spans human services, education, and equity leadership, the systems that touch Worcester families every day. I've spent my career amplifying voices that too often go unheard, building cultures of trust and safety, and asking the hard questions that drive real change. Worcester deserves leaders who don't just talk about equity, but live it. My daughter, who better be asleep, like so many children across this city, deserves a Worcester that works for everyone. Together we can move Worcester forward with vision, with voice, and with values that honor who we are and who we're becoming. At the top of my list, affordable housing, quality education with a quality experience, economic development, and public safety, just to name a few. I'm Dr. Jessica Pepple, and I humbly ask for your vote for City Councilor at Large on November 4th. Let's reimagine Worcester together. Thank you.
Thank you. Caden?
Over this campaign, I've knocked on nearly 11,000 doors across Worcester, and everywhere I go, I keep hearing the same thing. Residents are disconnected, feeling unheard, and ignored by the people who make decisions that shape their lives. Too often, those decision makers don't wait for the bus, don't worry about rent going up, and don't wonder if they can put food on the table. But I have, and I do. That perspective matters, and when you've lived it, you lead differently and you fight differently. I am not backed by developers. I'm not backed by any PACs or special interests. My campaign is grassroots and funded by neighbors, workers, community members, and others who believe that Worcester is for everyone and not just the powerful few. This campaign, again, is not about politics as usual. It is about possibility. It is about building a Worcester where housing is affordable, public health and safety are prioritized, and every resident has a real voice in shaping our city's future. On November 4th, I hope I can earn your vote to make that vision a reality and make sure that Worcester is for everyone.
Thank you. Mo? Mo?
Let's just remember that Worcester's grown more than any other city in Massachusetts in the last decade. So as much as all of us want to communicate things that are wrong with Worcester, let's remember what's right with Worcester. Immigrant communities are changing. They always have been in a city of immigrants, but everybody wants the same thing. They want public safety, they want good streets and sidewalks, quality education. But they also want a city that they're proud of. Worcester's been a city that's been on the forefront, whether it's the American Revolution, the Civil War, and many other firsts in the city of Worcester. Women's Rights Convention. This building itself is an historical building. Worcester's a city to be proud of, and I've been proud to be a city councilor in the city of Worcester. I believe my record speaks for itself. I'm number 8 on the ballot, and I'm asking for one of your 6 at-large votes on November 4th or before November 4th, should you choose to vote early. Thank you.
Thank you. And Edson?
Okay. My vision is simple. My vision is local. I dream with a city where everybody, every family, every neighborhood, every resident feels seen, feel here, feel value. And our leadership begin with listening, but listen with empathy, with compassion, with love, no? With action. Our diversity it's not reflect in the power position here in the city. It's true, the city grow and grow a lot, but we don't see reflected right there. It's like a distance. I know the people in power, they try to do their best. They try to do whatever they can, but it's not enough because you don't have people like us right there to explain to you our reality. In this election, I ask for your trust and your vote. It's not just a representation, it's to work with you. Because I think together we can be better. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I'm Paul Matthews. I'm the Executive Director and CEO of the Worcester Regional Research Bureau. It's our great honor to be hosting this debate series, as you heard, with the Telegram and Gazette, hosted by Mechanics Hall. I want to thank Ernie Floyd, WCCA, and all of you who are live streaming, in addition to the other coverage. Those of you not in the room, please do check out the coverage. It's going to be up at the Telegram and Gazette tomorrow without a subscriber paywall. So I want to thank our partner, the TNG, and Rick, who does an amazing job. I also want to thank all of you in this room for hanging in there. This is by far the longest debate of our debate series, given the number of candidates. I want to thank my fellow moderators who did a terrific job. I want to thank my fellow staff members, AKA the timekeepers. Great job, guys. I also want to remind everyone at home, October 25th is the voting registration deadline. October 25th to the 31st is eligible for early voting. And as you've heard several times, Tuesday, November 4th is Election Day. We have 2 debates left. Next Wednesday, the 15th, here we're going to have contested city council districts. And then on the 29th, it's going to be a much smaller race. It's going to be the mayoral race. And we're going to have that debate to finish up the series. So on that note, I want to thank the candidates. Let's give them a big round of applause. And we'll see you all next Wednesday.